I'm Lisanne Miller with W, Cushing and Company, and it's December's third Thursday with Lisanne. This is the last third Thursday with Lisanne for 2023. We have plenty more planned for 2024, but I thought a great way to end 2023 is to end it in the dye kitchen, and how to button up your dye kitchen for the holiday season, how to clean it up, but get a good stash of wool and yarn for 2024 projects. So let's get started. First, I'd like to thank Rug Hooking Magazine. We work in coordination with each other. And make sure that you have the November-December magazine 2023. Kay did such a beautiful job with this. The polar bears are just lovely. There's Icelandic projects in there, punch needle projects. This is really a great issue to take you through November, December, so be sure you have that in your reading for the holiday season. So, let's get started. What happens is you clean your spoons with kosher salt, or you should. And then usually, if you dye a lot at the end of the week, you should take all of these out. Yep, you should take all your spoons out because little deposits get in there of dye. And then you just wash them without lemon joy, without any soap, just water, and let them dry for about 24 hours, okay? Or 8 hours, whatever you would like. But make sure you clean your spoons if you dye a lot once a week or once a month if you don't. So you clean while you're doing it with the kosher salt. And this leaves the salt. Don't throw the salt away. The salt creates some beautiful, beautiful colors. And also they're all the colors that you've used. I know a lot of you have extra dye. This is the time to get rid of the dye. We have it in all sorts of jars, from Vlasic pickle to Classico pasta sauce, whatever you'd like. So this is how we're going to clear up and get rid of nibs and nabs of wool, nibs and nabs of skeins of yarn, and our salt and our extra dye. Now, the salt, what we're going to do, I have 2 pots, and the pots are steaming. Steaming like you're going to steam them for a lobster. Don't let them boil, but just steam them. So come on over and we'll put the salt in. We're going to create the dye bath, and then we're going to add the wool. So here we go, and I'm just going to pour in. Now, with these jars, afterwards, yes, you can either throw the jars away, wash them out, and reuse them. If you're going to wash them out and reuse them, make sure that you make sure they're dry before you put them back in. And we're going to put that in like that. And we're going to put this one in like that. And we're going to put this one in. And if you wanted to do 4 pots, you could. We have a lot of extra because there's 2 of us in the dye kitchen. So these are mine from cleaning my dye spoons throughout the year. Get yourself a great industrial big spoon if you're going to work in these pots. It avoids steam burns. It lets you stir yards of wool. It lets you pick up the wool to look at it. You can get it in any kitchen store, but make sure it's a good one and make sure it's strong. But it will save you from steam burns. It will save you from splashing up the water on you, things like that. So I have a dye bath started. Seems like we use a lot of dark colors, but that's okay. Now, if you notice, I am not putting in vinegar. I don't want this to be a quick set. This is going to be a slow set. So the vinegar will go in at the end, okay? And you can see the steam coming off the second one. And the second one, I'm going to take jars, and I have no idea what's in here because we may add, we may subtract. We don't know. We just put them in jars. And I'm going to put the jars in. Yes, I could do 1 for every jar, but we'd be here all day. So You may end up with mud, you may end up with the best antique black background. You just never know what you're gonna end up with. This is a nice color, huh? Look at that. There we go. And I'm gonna put one or two more in. We have a little bit extra. We may do another pot later on. But they're not labeled, don't know what they are. Doesn't matter what they are. These are one-of-a-kinds, ladies and gentlemen. One-of-a-kind. So this one is almost the same color as the other one. A little bit lighter, a little bit browner. We're okay. And then we'll add one more in here. And we're going to add the wool. Now, what wool I'm adding is maybe it was, not quite a yard. Maybe something was going on and, we just put it in the pile to do this to dye. So it can be textures, it can be solids, it can be full yards, half yards, quarter yards to scrap. All right, so this is a full yard, and I'm just going to drop it in here, about a full yard. And after I drop it in, I'm picking up this industrial spoon, and if you notice, the more you stir the pot, the more solid it will become, okay? So we don't want to stir the pot. We just want to put it in the pot. And we have another one here, and I think we'll put this one into here, just like that. Okay, and if you use the same colors regularly, you may end up with similar colors. The pots are looking pretty similar at this point, but that's okay. I'm poking it down in, but I'm not going overboard, okay? And I have a piece of lilac here. That's gonna go in. And the funny part about this is these are little nibs and nabs. See the little nibs and nabs? Yeah. This is how my grandmother used to make pasta vazol. She opened up the refrigerator, had her tomato base, and anything in the refrigerator went in. So this is what we're doing. This is everything but the kitchen sink. Okay. And by putting it in at different times, it will absorb at different rates. Now, if you notice, we still haven't added the mordant. This is not a quick set because we want to make sure that everything is open and not folded. And so we're going to poke it in and move it around just a little bit. Remember, don't stir the pot too much. So we're actually going to come in here, and you can see I'm still going in with tans. We got little nibs down here. Put those into there. Got that, like this, in there. Now, I have little pieces of yarn, little mini skeins. And sometimes we just need a little yarn in our project. And here's a little Tweety yarn. It's just a pinch of this, a dash of that. And at the end, you're going to end up with some really great things. Now, we're going to let these cook. These will cook for 20-25 minutes. We won't wait, but we'll post the pictures after like we always do. And as you can see, we're putting it all in the pot. All in. And the funny part is, there's still a lot of color in that pot. There's a lot of color going on. And then here, we're poking this down like this. And look, a lot of color. And even though we put many different colors in and at different times, the pots are still dark. So let me take this other small pot because we had a lot left over. And we're going to do this. And let's see what else we got in here. Well, this pot could use a little more. So I happen to know that there's yarn rolled up with that. We'll just put it all in. Oh yeah, a crowded pot creates a lot of fun. So if you like a lot of motion in your dyed wool and you're not getting a lot of motion in your dyed wool, there's two things that could be. Number one, you're stirring the pot too much. Number two is your pot's not crowded. You're not crowding your pot. So if a half a yard will do in the pot that you use, put in a full yard and you'll get a lot more modeling. So we've got this in I can see that now we are starting to dissipate in color, which is great. We like that. Our first piece, as you can tell, is very, very dark, which is great. And then we have all subsequent. Now, the color is not exhausted from here. So, since the color is not exhausted, we know we have to add vinegar. And I'm coming in here to poke and probe. So this one here, yep, very light as well. Very good. So, but there's still color in there. There's still pieces to absorb. Yeah, we got full pots. That's a good thing. We like full pots. But you see, the spoon really helps in this, and it will help when you go to take it out. So, it's all in. It's all covered. Now we're going to add our vinegar. Now at this point, let me show you something, because a couple of you have asked this. Yes, at this point we could add more dye if we wanted, but what that's going to do, it's going to streak it, and I'm not going to, but you could. If you decided that you wanted things a little darker, this happens to be very dark, you could add it at this point. But if you're going to add it at this point, make sure you do mix it through, or it will just make streaks and blobs. So now, since I already have all the water in the pot, and it is not a quick set, we are going to put in a half a cup, because there's so much in there. So here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to move this over here, just like that. And I'm going to make one big stir so it goes all the way around. I'm not covering the pot. I don't want to cover the pot. I've just done that, so now I can let it cook. And now I'm going to do another half a cup in the other pot. I'm going to move it over, just like this. And I'm going to give it a good stir, just like that. Okay? And this is really going to take off. Then I'm going to let it soak now, or cook now, simmer. No lid. Don't steam it. For about 25 minutes, okay? And if you do not have a good kitchen timer, make sure you put that on your stocking stuffer list. You really need a good kitchen timer. Doesn't have to be expensive, it just has to be good, and it has to be loud. So, let's go over very briefly what we did. We had the pots plain with water. We had it on a simmer, okay? It was steaming, like you would steam a lobster. Then we put all our nibs in, we put all of our colors in, whether it was the salt or leftover dye. So salt from cleaning your spoons, leftover dye. So that was our dye bath. Then into our dye bath, we put all our nibs and nabs, all our yarns. We moved it around a little bit, but not a lot. We want motion. We like motion. And we put them in at different times so that there'll be many different colors. You can see the many different colors in the pots already, and that's a good thing. So after we were done putting in everything we wanted, then we added a half a cup of vinegar, not with any water, we just added it into the water, and that is our mordant, and that will grab and that will exhaust the rest of the dyes. Now we have them both on to cook for 25 minutes, and you can check at 25 you can check. There's a lot in here, there's a lot of dye in here. You may need to do it for another 10 minutes until it's just about exhausted. And we are really, really getting there. See, now we're into red, and it will change as it goes. But we're getting exhausted, we're almost there. Some things you need for your dye kitchen: a very large, big, good industrial spoon, a good, doesn't have to be expensive timer, and also all of this was soaked overnight. Now, when we soak, we do not use Synthropol. We use Lemon Joy. Joan Moshimer used Lemon Joy. It's been used for years. Lemon Joy does not have any petroleum products. It opens up the fiber a lot easier. So just plain Lemon Joy, and that's what we use. So we did soak everything for 24 hours. So now because we have, as I told you, 2 of us dyeing and a lot of salt, this is what I had done earlier. Okay? And this is what came out of my first pot. So, a nice rich chocolate over a texture. Some little pieces of mottled grays, as you can see. A lovely, lovely shade here. It's almost peachy, taupey, but you see how it's really mottled because it was in a crowded pot. This all came out of one pot. Here's a lighter version of the first one I showed you. Again, has mottling, great for a background. And at the end, this piece here even came out, and look how mottled and interesting that is. So now you'll label these your 2023 salt dye, and when you go to start color planning for 2024, you've already got a palette that you can start with. Great for backgrounds. They make a great mottled background. This could even be wonderful flesh tones, accent pieces, you name it, it's here. So, clean up your dye kitchen for 2023, and let's have some more adventures in 2024. On behalf of Rug Cooking Magazine and W Cushing and Company, we wish all of you a good holiday season. Bye for now.